So today, we're going to just, you could say, take the next step in the process of solving equations. So you're going to see that there's a little more involved here in these equations, okay, to get x by itself. So when I'm solving two-step equations, I will move the term that is not connected to the variable. Okay, so I want to show you what I mean by this. All right, so does everybody see where the x is? Everybody see where the x is? Okay, so this is the term connected to the variable. I want you to draw a heart around it. Okay, there we go. That's a little bit better. All right, this heart tells you that these guys are best friends. They're really close. All right, have you ever heard the saying, they're joined at the hip? Okay, like best friends are joined at the hip. What does that mean? That means that they do everything together. All right, so you can kind of think of like that with the term that's connected to the variable. All right, so what my rule says is those guys are going to stay together as long as they can, meaning you don't do that first, okay? You do what is not connected to the variable first, and we're still doing inverse operations. All right, so I see plus 4. What's the opposite of plus 4? Minus 4. So I would minus 4 to the other side. And now I bring everything down. Okay, I want to bring everything down. So now, do you agree that plus 4 and minus 4 would cancel out? Yes.
Aren't minus are different? They say 2x plus 12 equals 4.
No, look above it though, on need to know. Look above it on need to know. Okay, you don't necessarily have to solve this one, although you do have space right there in the middle to solve it if you want. Okay, so now bring it down, and 2x equals, what's 12 minus 4? 2x equals 8. Okay, now I have multiplication connected to my variable, so what operation solves for x? To divide by 2. Divide by 2. X equals 4. All right. So you can see that my first step was to subtract to the other side. And my second step was to divide to get x by itself. So that's why we call this two-step equations, because there's two steps there. All right. So it's just like literally you can look below. Right? It's just a ton of practice for solving two steps and a lot of different scenarios that we're looking at. All right. Okay, so let's get to practicing. Negative 2x plus 12 equals 4. So where would you put your heart? Where would you put your heart? Where do you guys think? Just tell me.
Negative 2x.
Around the negative 2x. I love the wording that you guys used, okay? Because you recognize that 2 is negative, and that's going to be important. All right? So how could I get positive 12 to cancel to the other side? I need to minus 12 to the other side. All right? So negative 2x equals, what is 4? Be careful. Think about your integer rules. All right, same sign, add and keep, different sign, subtract. All right, what is 4 minus 12? Negative 8. Okay, is that what you guys were thinking as well? The sign is going to make all the difference, guys. Okay, because that's going to determine the value you think x is. So when I have a negative 2, do you guys remember from yesterday? What do I need to divide both sides by? Negative 2. I cannot leave the negative with my variable. If there's a negative connected, I must divide it. Okay, so x equals, now be careful on your rules. How many negatives am I dividing? Hold up your fingers. How many? 2. So do I have a positive or a negative answer? Positive 4. Very good. All right, what do you notice that is different about the next equation? Just tell me. It is what we would call backwards. Why would we say that it's backwards? Because that variable comes after, okay? So I do want to start practicing rewriting this, okay? Where I would take the 3x minus 12. I have to take the whole expression, and now I'm going to put it in front of the equal sign. So now I'm not going to be reading it backwards anymore. What do you think needs to go after the equal sign now? The 9. The 9. Okay? All right, now with equations, this isn't a huge deal to rewrite it, but with inequalities, it is. Okay? Where does my heart go? Where does my heart go, guys? It goes around the 3x. Okay? It goes around the 3x. All right, I want you to try the next step. See if you can do the next step and make sure you're showing your work exactly how I'm doing it on the screen. Okay? We don't want to do our work side by side. We want to do our work what we call vertically. All right, so we're working down. Okay? Macy, what did you do to both sides?
I plus 12.
Very good. So did you add 12 and cross it out? Okay? Now add 12 to the other side. Now bring everything down. 3x equals, Nasir, what did you get when you did 9 plus 12? 9 plus 12. All right, help them out, guys. 21, okay? All right, so 3x equals 21, and divide both sides by 3. X equals 7. X equals 7. All right, how are we doing so far? All right, did you guys do two-step equations in 6th grade?
Yes.
Did y'all do two-step? Okay, so we're probably starting to kind of turn the corner into 7th grade equations, okay? For example, this next one. Now, I need a variable here. So apparently it got left off. So we're just going to put our variable here, okay, after the 1/2. Go ahead and put your variable here. All right, so what do you notice about this equation? What do you notice? Well, there is a variable. We just put it in there. There's a lot of what? Fractions. Okay? Now, I want the easiest way. Don't we like easy?
Yes.
Okay? I want the easiest way to deal with these fractions so I can just solve for x. Okay? So it's this concept of clearing a fraction. Now remember, as long as you do the same operation to the entire equation, you can pretty much do whatever you want. So that's where my rule is coming from here. Okay? I can multiply this entire equation by a number, and this number I want to be divisible by all of my denominators. So I want the GCF, or the LCM, I want the LCM as if it was, pretend like you were finding a common denominator. What would be the lowest number that my denominators could go into? I want you to think about it. You have a 2 and a 5. What is the lowest number that both of those numbers go into, Kaylee? It is 10. So here's what I'm going to do. You guys remember distributive property? I'm going to write it 10 over 1 as a fraction. Okay, you guys remember distributive? That whatever's on the outside, I can multiply it by every term inside the parentheses. That's what I'm about to do. Okay, so 10 times 4/5. 10 times 4/5. Do you agree that you could reduce the 5 and the 10 would become a 2? Do you guys agree? So now what's 2 times 4? What's 2 times 4? It's 8. So now I want you to write the 8 below. Okay? Now this is important so you don't confuse yourself. I want you to now cross out the 2. Okay? I want you to cross out the 2 because now you need to cross reduce the 10 and the 1/2. So when I cross reduce the 10 and the 1/2, the 2 and the 10, what does the 10 become? It becomes a 5. Now multiply 5 times negative 1x. What's 5 times negative 1x? Negative 5x. Okay? So now cross out your 5. Okay? What do you think you're going to do now? Distribute to the last fraction, and you're still going to cross reduce. So now this 2 cross reduces, and what does the 10 become? A 5 again. What is 5 times negative 7? Negative 35. Okay? That's going to take some practice.
I don't understand how that works, but it's easy, so I'm going to go.
Yeah, exactly. So what you're doing is, as long as you're multiplying everything by the same number, then you're allowed to do that. You just are. Okay? All right. So now we're going to, where does our heart go?
Negative 5x.
Around the negative 5x. We're going to subtract 8 from both sides. Okay? We bring down what? What do we bring down now? Negative 5x equals negative 43. Okay? What is going to be our last step now? Divide both sides by negative 5. Okay? And it's going to be x equals 8.6. I believe it's 8.6. 5 goes into
I'll do it.
43, 8 times with 3 left over. Yeah, it's 8.6. Okay? All right. So, we just took a big step, didn't we? We just literally went from, here's this cute little 2-step problem to, bam, clearing fractions. Okay? All right, we got to do another one. There's just no way around it. We got to do another one. Okay? All right. So let's look at the next one. Okay? Now, on the second one, hopefully we can take a step forward and have a better idea on the second one. All right? So remember, we see all these fractions. I don't want to worry about having to add and LCDs and all that. I want to clear my fractions out. So I do that by looking at my denominators and what is the lowest number that goes into all of them.
12.
No, all these numbers have to go into one. What's the LCD?
12.
No, not a factor.
12.
Does 4 go into 12?
Yes.
Does 6 go into 12?
Yes.
Does 2 go into 12?
Yes.
Yes. So 12 is your number. 12 is your number, guys. Okay? All right. So now, do you remember what we need to do now? Starts with a D. Distribute. Distribute the 12 to each of the fractions. Okay? All right. So now, the 4 cross reduces the 12 to a what? To a 3. Okay? So now the 3 times A is what? 3A. All right, now don't forget, cross out your 3 now. You're done with your 3. Now distribute the 12 and the 6. What does that cross reduce to? A 2. Okay, so you're going to write a 2, and the 6 crosses out. What's 2 times negative 5? Negative 10. Okay, so now your 2 is done. Okay, I want you to try to figure out what goes after the equal sign. All right, try to figure out what goes after the equal sign now. Okay, did you get 6? All right, because the 12 cross reduced to a 6, and 6 times 1 is 6. All right, where does my heart go, guys?
3A.
3A. All right, so now negative 10, what do? Add 10. All right, on both sides. This is not going to be pretty when I divide. 3a equals 16. Now, what do I divide both sides by? 3. And a equals 5.3 repeating. Okay, I'll just do that math for you. It will work out to be a little nicer. Okay. All right, so clearing fractions. How am I doing on time? All right, we're doing really good on time. Okay. All right. It gets hard, and then example 3 like lightens up a little bit. Okay, so, all right, are your brains hurting yet?
No, let's do the challenge.
Okay, let's do this. Okay, so we see now distributive property of a fraction. Okay, so negative 1/3 times 4. But do you agree that 4 is the same thing as 4 over 1? Okay, so does anybody want to answer this for me? What would negative 1/3 times 4 be? Times 4 over 1? Multiply my numerators and my denominators. Nate, what do you think? Negative 4/3. Negative 4/3. And now any number times 1 is just that number, right? So it's minus 1/3 z equals negative 5/6. Okay? So I did my distributive, and now, oh, lovely. Okay? So I am going to stop right here. I want to walk around. I want to see if you can come up with the number you need to clear your fractions and then do your distributive property. Okay? So I'm going to just pause right here and walk around and check on y'all. But I want to show you that even if, okay, so did anybody multiply by 12 by chance? Okay? So if you did not get the LCM, don't erase what you did, because you're just going to have larger numbers to divide, but you should still get the same answer. Okay? 6 is the LCM. Okay? So 3 and 6 cross reduce to a 2. 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. Raise your hand if you got negative 8. Did you guys get negative 8 for your first one? Oh, come on. No?
I'm just trying to finish the problem. It doesn't come
Okay.
out even.
It does, but it's one decimal. It's not a huge deal. Yeah, it's just one decimal. All right, so 3 and 6 cross reduce again to negative 2z. Did you guys get negative 2z? Okay. Now, 6 and 6 cross reduce to a 1, so it's just negative 5. All right, so now I can kind of take a deep breath. I got through the hard part. I got through the clearing fractions. My heart goes around where?
Negative.
The negative 2z. I add 8 to both sides. Uh-oh. What is negative 5 plus 8?
3.
Positive 3.
3. 3, guys. You got to watch those signs. Negative 2z equals positive 3. Equals positive 3. Okay? She's good. All right. Now, what do I divide both sides by? Negative 2. So z equals negative 1.5. Or if you did 1/2 as a fraction, you got it. All right. Did anybody get it?
Me. I got it.
Did anybody get it?
I put 6.
I got 6.5.
Do you see, though, it's got to be... Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. It is 6.5. Hold on. All right, hold on. What did I do wrong, guys?
I don't remember. That's the answer. I don't know.
Look. All right, look right here. No, wait. I did do it right.
Yeah, it's negative, so you gotta add it.
Hold on. Before I second guess myself. 6 was positive.
It's hard to say the positive.
1 times -5 is -5, guys.
I know.
Did I get all my signs right? All right, let's see. Negative, negative,
I got negative.
negative. It's negative 1.5. It is. It is. At first, I saw this negative and I thought 2 negatives, but that's not right. Okay? So, yes. Y'all made me second guess myself, but I did it right. Okay? All right. Okay. Those are going to take practice, guys. That's like the question you're going to see at the end that, you know, is one of the toughest ones. So now, okay, we can lighten up a little bit. We're going back to the integers. Okay? But what do you see? Now this is really important. I want you to think of the equal sign like a wall. Okay? So when I'm combining like terms, I can only combine like terms that are on the same side of the equation, okay? Because in the next lesson, you're going to see variables on opposite sides of the equal sign. So does everybody understand that my 2y values are on the same side of the equation? Same side, okay? So my rule says when I have like terms on the same side of the equation, I can combine my like terms, and I want to do that before I solve. Okay? So we've already practiced this in our last unit. What would be 3y minus 8y? 5y? Negative 5y. Okay? So I can kind of erase my wall, my barrier. Okay? That's imaginary. Negative 5y equals 25. Okay? Now, I need to get y by itself. Try to do the next step before I tell you. Try to do the next step. All right, Julia, what would be my next step to getting y by itself?
Divide 25 and -5y by -5.
Very good. Divide both sides by -5. So this cross reduces to a 1. That's what I wanted. And y equals -5. Okay? Y equals -5. All right, I want you to just kind of study this next problem. I want you to look at it. All right? I want you to try to predict the first thing that you're going to do before I tell you.
It's kind of easy.
What do you think, Sam? What would be the first thing you need to do? Okay, put the heart around the 2y. You can do that.
Because of, what's it called?
Like terms?
We're the 3.
Well, Leah, can you help her out? What is it? Yes, add 3 and 4 together. So you're looking for like terms on the same side of the equation. What's 4 plus 3, guys? 7 plus 2y, put that heart around 2y, equals -9. Okay, so 7 plus 2y equals -9. All right, so now what do you do next? And then what do you do after that? Finish solving. I'm going to give you about a minute to finish solving. All right, can we go through the steps together? All right, so everybody all together, what do I do next? Subtract 7 from both sides. Okay, 2y equals -16. All right, now what do I do? Divide both sides by 2. All right, and what's my answer? Y equals -8. You guys are awesome. Great job. All right. Okay, great job. -8. Just kind of nod your head at me if you got it. Did you guys get it? All right, awesome. Okay, so what's an example without decimals and fractions? Okay, we can't leave them out. They would be sad. Okay, so yes, we have to, I love that, Sebastian, encompass everything because you never know what's going to show up on a homework quiz or test. Okay, What do you notice? Someone raise your hand and tell me, what do you notice? Julia?
Backwards.
It is backwards. It's backwards. So I'm going to need to deal with that. Okay, what else do you notice? Kaylee? Yes, there's two variables and they are on the same side of the equation. All right. Also, what I notice is, are they same sign or different? Different. So what's my rule for different sign? Subtract and take. So when I'm subtracting decimals, the larger absolute value has to go on top. Okay, so I want you to subtract it off to the side to see what that difference is going to be. Okay. All right, did you guys get 0.8? Is it positive or negative? This is really important.
Negative.
Look here. Which one had the larger absolute value? 2.1, and it was negative. Okay. All right, so I have combined these. All right, so I have negative 8 equals negative 0.8 m. All right. So now, are you guys okay with, let's go ahead and switch it around? All right. You switched it from the start. That's perfect. Okay, so negative 0.8 m equals negative 8. All right. What do you think you need to divide both sides by? All right, negative 0.8. Negative 0.8. Okay. All right, so now this cancels. So again, you might need to do the work off to the side. 8 divided by 0.8. Bump your decimal 0. So 8 goes into 80 how many times? 10. All right, so m equals positive 10 or negative 10. Don't mess up now. Positive 10. Positive 10. What? No, I would give you partial credit. I would definitely give you partial credit. Okay? All right, now look at the next one. What do you notice about the next one? There's a lot.
Just got over this.
There's a lot. Clearing fractions. They're not all fractions, but okay. Now hold on though. Before you do that, do you see?
Flip it.
Yeah, you gotta flip it. Do you see two W's on the same side? Okay, so before you freak out and think I gotta clear these fractions, well, you have two choices. Actually, you could clear the fractions, or you could find the LCD and combine them.
I'd rather do that.
You'd rather do LCD?
Yes, please.
All right, so 1/2, if I need to make 1/2 the LCD, what would it be? 2/4. So y'all would rather make this 2/4? Okay, I'm cool with that. All right, negative 6 equals, what's 1 minus 2? Negative 1/4 W. All right, now I want you to switch it around. Negative 1/4 W equals negative 6. Okay? How do I get rid of a fraction? Fraction being multiplied by a variable. We learned it yesterday. What do I need to do? I'm getting hungry.
Get the KFC.
KFC. KFC. Negative 4/1. Cross reduces. And I multiply this side by negative 4. W equals 24. All right, so on this one, because not everything was a fraction, it actually was easier to find the LCD and do it that way. All right, you guys feel like you got a little smarter?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, we're gonna skip the second challenge question. It's very similar to the ones that we've already done. If the value for X is the same, then they're equivalent. Okay, all right. Absolutely, anytime you can, I want you to draw a visual model. Okay? It just really, really helps.
Are we skipping the next challenge?
Yes, we are. because we're running out of time and I want to look at your homework. Okay, it says you install how many feet? 500 feet of invisible fencing along the perimeter, hint, 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 perimeter of a rectangular yard. The width is 100 feet, and what is the length? Okay, all right, so where would I plug in 100 on my little visual model?
On the short side.
On the short sides, okay? There's my 100. Do I know the length? No. But wait a second. I can only have one thing I'm solving for, so that means I need to have a total. Do I have a total?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so P equals 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. You got to know your formula. It says I installed 500 feet. That's my total. 500 equals 2 times the length that I don't know plus 2 times the width. What is the dimension of my width? 100. Okay? All right? Okay, finish solving. Finish solving. Tell me what the length is if the rest of my dimensions are the same or are what they said. All right, 500 equals 2L plus 200. Did you guys get 200?
Yes.
Okay, where does my heart go?
Around the 2.
Around the 2L. Okay?
Do we have to write the heart?
You don't have to write the heart, but is it helping you remember? So, okay, whatever. Huh? Because it tells you that you don't do that
I
first.
keep forgetting.
Okay, you know what? If you don't like my heart, then don't do it. Okay? All right, subtract 200 to the other side. 300 equals 2L. All right, or you could say 2L equals 300. All right, yep. 2, divide both sides by 2. What's 300 divided by 2? The length is 150. Now, does that make sense?
Yes.
Why would you say this makes sense on my visual model?
Because if you add it all together, it's the...
Okay, that's a good point. If I add 150 plus 150 plus 100 plus 100, it's 500. Would it make sense that the length needs to be a little bit longer than the width?
Yes.
All right, because it's rectangular. So you can think about this logically. All right, it makes sense that it's about 150 feet.
Very good.
So if the
All
length
right.
is smaller,
It actually is, I shouldn't say about, it is 150 feet. All right, guys, that's everything you need to know for today.
Question.